No, okay. So what do you guys like the best? You like the live Zoom, the interaction? You just want to go read something off of iLearn?
Zoom preferably.
Zoom preferably? Okay.
It's hard to ask questions and like get a response back if it's just a pre-recorded lecture. I
Yeah.
mean, it's cool that you can do it on your own luxury of like whenever you want. Like, you don't have to attend class at that attended time slot. But I mean, I think it just hinders your learning because you have several questions. You may have several questions, and they won't be answered. I mean, regularly or at that moment. So you have to write it down, remember the question, and it just becoming an.
All right. So Tammy, when you mean online courses, they're just giving you assignments online and then you guys are doing them? And then how does that work?
Yeah, so some of my classes are just kind of like modules almost. I think one person is doing recorded lectures where it's like pre-recorded already, so he uploads those and it's all online. And other two professors are just using discussion boards.
Oh,
And then we just type on there and then submit online assignments, and there's no lecture to it, so nothing's recorded and there's no Zoom, and everything is just a PowerPoint, and then assignments are online. So it's like completely online modules.
so I'm doing everything then. I'm doing the discussion, the iLearn and the lectures and recording.
Yeah, you're the one that's I think your class is definitely, I'm taking 5 classes. Your class is the most closest to what I would be doing if UCR was still like on campus.
On campus. Well, that's what I'm trying to make it, something the same as almost going to class, but it's been a challenge. Yeah.
Thank you for doing it. It definitely feels more like class than me clicking a few, like downloading files and then reading my instructions and then
Yeah. No,
finishing it up really fast. So
professors don't communicate because we're kind of all in our own little world, so we don't know what each other's doing. So, and then, yeah, I think the Zoom keeps you guys on schedule, huh? You guys have to actually show up to class. So, uh, agreed. I end up with the recordings on the weekends. Yes. All right, good deal. All right, so I got a little PowerPoint presentation for you. Going to do a little polling today, and then maybe I'll break you guys up into groups and have you discuss a few issues that's with this chapter. And then we'll post something on the discussion board for you guys to talk about, and then we'll recap on Thursday. All right, so let's get everything started here. Well, we haven't gotten to the quiz yet today. We have to do the coin toss. You guys ready?
Let's hope it works this time.
We'll see what happens. All right. All right. So I don't have my other monitor set up today, so everybody has the slide screens, right? All right. So this week's agenda, we're going to talk about Chapter 3, the value chain, which is an internal evaluation of the company. We got our strengths, our weaknesses, competitive advantage, and what's going to be due and what's new. And then in your chapter, we have the Walt Disney Company that they talk about briefly. And everybody's pretty much familiar with Disney, so we're going to keep them as a subject, a good example of the company that has quite a bit of strengths and competitive advantage in its industry. All right, so if it comes up 2, 3, or 4, we'll take the quiz. And if not, we will go ahead and do the, let's do the polling while we ask. Okay. So I got a polling here, so we'll see who paid attention. And we're going to time this for 15 seconds. So everybody, which cell phone manufacturer had 39% of the market share in the early 2010s? Multiple choice. So enter your answers now. And then we'll go to number 2. So one person answered so far. So Samsung, Apple, Nokia, Google, HTC, RIM, and Nintendo.
I'm not able to submit.
Because you came late.
I did not come late.
I'm just messing with you. I don't know why you can't submit.
I don't know. Maybe I have to answer all the questions,
Yeah.
not one at a time.
Only 3 questions.
All right, let's try that because I tried to do it one at a time.
All right, and time's up. So we're going to share results. So Samsung was around, but they didn't have 30% of the market. Nokia, that's when they started losing the market. And let's see. Google was barely around back then. I don't even think they had a phone. The V, valuable, very good.
Is this the quiz or the recap?
This is just a recap.
Okay.
Is the recap graded, or is just for me to see who's paying attention?
I can grade that. Actually, I was thinking about doing your quizzes this way because I can actually tell who answered what. Okay.
I
And
guess it can be attendance.
and it's, well, we already do attendance. Watson takes the attendance off, not off of this, but off of all the people that are here in the meeting. Okay. Okay, so that is very good. Okay. So the quiz, what does SWOT stand for? What is the shortest definition of strategic management according to slide 14 of last week's lecture? In 2010, what cell phone manufacturer had 39% majority of the market share? And name 3 of Porter's 5 forces. And what does VRIO stand for? All right. So instead of having a quiz, we're just going to do a little review because the number came up number 1 when I rolled the dice. You guys got lucky 2 weeks in a row. Yes, Francis, you got to smile. All right. All right. So the SWOT and our review, remember we did strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is going to be a major part of your evaluation of companies when you talk about them or when you evaluate them. Okay, so strengths and weaknesses are internal, opportunities and threats are external, and we're going to talk about that this week. Okay. I forgot I got a lot of emotions on this one slide. Okay, so the business strategy is strategic management and competitive advantage we talked about. Okay, so strategic management advantage is competitive advantage. Okay, knowing what markets to compete in or not to compete in, when to get out, what unique value the firm will offer in those markets, the resources and capabilities required to offer the unique value better than competitors. Disney is a perfect example of this. We're going to talk about them more in the lecture. And when I have you guys break out, I want you to think of different types of industries that have a competitive advantage like Disney does. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Ways to sustain advantage by preventing imitation. Okay, so Nokia was the answer to that question. And the Porter's 5 forces, if you remember: threat of new entrants, buyer power, threat of substitution, supplier power, and competitive rivalry. All right. So right now, who can tell me who's the biggest rival of Disney resorts or Disney theme parks? Go ahead, you can answer. They really don't, do they? They really don't have big competition. Magic Mountain, maybe Six Flags, is a little bit of a competitor as far as the theme parks go, but nothing as a Disney as a whole. There really is nobody competing with them. They are out there on their own. Different divisions of Disney, maybe, like the television, they have competition there, or the theme parks, they might have SeaWorld or Knott's Berry Farm, but nothing really that is really competitive. Okay. VRIO, valuable, rare, inimitable, and organized. Okay. Inimitable means hard to copy, hard to imitate. Okay. And organized means the company is organized to take advantage of their strengths, and organized to keep off weaknesses. Okay. So chapter 3 is all about Steamboat Willie or Mickey Mouse. You guys read the little bit excerpt in the chapter regarding how Mickey Mouse came about. Yes. So what happened is sometimes in diversity, because the Disney brothers were very committed to quality, very committed to what they did, very innovative. They were able to survive Walt and Roy getting fired from the company that they were doing the comic strips for. So on their way back from back east, back to Hollywood, they came up with an idea, Mickey Mouse. And because they were already in the industry, because they have quality work that they were already doing, they were able to come up with this cartoon. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so the value chain, Porter's value chain, this would actually make a very good midterm question, don't you guys think? Shake your heads, yes, yes it would. All right, so Porter's value chain is this kind of chain is the structure of the company, how support or secondary value activities on the top, the firm's infrastructure, human resources and management. I'm just going to make sure there's no questions in the chat room. Okay. And technology development and procurement. So these are the infrastructures within the company, how it operates, how it goes about doing business. So in manufacturing is a little bit different in the value chain, but you have inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing, and sales and service. Okay. And this little part right here in the front is your profit. Okay. So the value chain is a visual description of the steps required for raw materials and to finished products. So you take in raw materials, for example, in a washing machine, you take in steel and you produce it, bend it, shape it, add things to it, and it is turned into a finished good. So you take a raw product and turn it into finished goods, and everything within that company is the value chain that makes it happen. Everything from purchasing to sales to the final product. Okay, so this is a little bit more detailed value chain for you. Administrative, finance, infrastructure, legal, accounting, financial management, human resources, product technology development, everything from buying computers to research and development to the way the company engineers, market testing, everything. Okay, so anything that has to do with IT or technological development is in that subject. Okay, procurement, usually administrative and procurement are sometimes grouped together, but in large companies, procurement is its own entity. And that's everything from buying raw materials to buying pencils and whatnot. Okay, inbound logistics, examples, control, receive raw materials. So quality control is involved in that. Operations, example, manufacturing, packaging, producing. Okay, the finished goods, the shipping them out to getting them to stores or to distribution centers. Sales and marketing, everybody knows what that is in the business world. Promotion, sales, market research, and all that other stuff. And servicing, sometimes there's a product like a washing machine. So 3-4 years down the road, if you're the Maytag repair guy, you're going to service that washing machine. All right. Questions so far? Are we good? Okay. So manufacturing value chain is a little bit different. As you can see, the raw materials, intermediate goods. Can somebody tell me what intermediate goods are? I know you want to answer. Kelsey? Do you know what intermediate goods are? Okay, so intermediate goods are nuts, bolts, motors, things that are not manufactured by the company that are purchased and implemented and installed within there. Okay. Goods utilized for production. That's true. All right, so those are example of intermediate goods, the nuts, the bolts, and all those other good things. Okay, so other than the manufacturing value chain is pretty much the same, except for the intermediate goods and manufacturing processes are a little bit different, as opposed to a service type company. Okay. All right. So resources-based view, resources, all assets, capabilities, organizational processes, firms, attributes, information, knowledge, and so forth. Okay. So all of these resources and assets is what make up what a company is all about: tangible or intangible resources or factors of production that create economic value for the firm when employed. So not just physical resources like buildings, equipment, but also financial resources, okay? Even human resources, for example, knowing how to make a product on the assembly line for making a refrigerator, okay? The more they adapt to making that refrigerator, the more practice they get, the human resources become more valuable to the company, okay? So far, we got questions? Okay, so the resource-based view capabilities of procedures, process, routines firms employ in their activities, operating capabilities, procedures. So a lot of these are all definitions from your book, and I want to make sure you guys get these down, because when we do our final project and we have our midterm, a lot of this stuff is all going to be on there, especially if you see it in red. Competitive parity, when a company survives but has no real competitive advantage over rivals. My industry is a perfect example of that, where you have Apple, a brother, HP, Lexmark, Xerox machines. There's really no competitive advantage over one of the others when it comes to small printers, but they're all there. Okay. All right. So any questions about the definitions that we just went over? No? Okay. So moving on, VRIO, valuable, rare, imitable, and organized. Okay, so if you have a yes, 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 and a yes, you have the sustainable competitive advantage. For example, Disney, when it comes to its theme parks, nobody can even compete against them. Is their product valuable? Yes. Who's paying $1,000 a year for a membership to go to their parks? Well, not now because they're closed. So it's extremely valuable. Okay, the consumers thinks it's valuable. The shareholders thinks it's valuable. Okay, rare. Yes, it's rare because Disneyland is very, very rare. It's in one state in the United States. Okay, how easily is it? Can you copy it? You can't. So it's not inimitable. So nothing, you can't just open one up overnight and say, oh, hey, we got a Disneyland, let's go. Okay, and organized. Yes, they are very organized to take advantage of everything that they have. Okay. Questions, Gabriel?
None at all.
All right. You guys still awake out there?
Yes.
This chapter is kind of boring. Okay, so valuable resources. Just because a resource is valuable, like gold, doesn't mean it's going to be valuable to your company. So if you have a bunch of gold saved up in your company, yes, it might be valuable. Yes, it might be worth something, but it's not going to help you when it comes to your industry or becoming competitive advantage. Okay, so know the difference between what value is and valuable. Okay, rare, diamonds, even though the De Beers want you to think diamonds are valuable and rare, they're really not as rare as everybody would like you to think. There's plenty of them out there. So having a tight hold on the markets itself is what's rare because they control almost all the diamond produced in the world. Okay. So in that sense, it is rare because they do have control over all the diamond mines just about. Inimitable resources are hard to imitate if they are extremely expensive for an organization to acquire them, or if they are protected by legal means such as patents or trademarks. So Xerox had the patent on the copier for many, many years. They could have not even let anybody into the industry if they would have played their cards right. And how many of you know that Xerox actually made the first personal computer? No, a lot of people don't know that. We'll get into more into that as the chapters go on. But Xerox actually made the first personal computer and let Apple develop it. No, not a Commodore 64. All right, so organized. Okay, so the De Beers are very organized. Is original to capture value of its support by the process, structure, and culture of the company. So De Beers owns almost all the diamond mines. They control what's taken out of the diamond mines and what is put on the market. Okay, so they're very organized and taking advantage of the resources to actually manipulate the market. Okay, or capture the market and capture the competitive advantage. Yeah, the blood diamonds, I don't want to hear about it. All right. Okay, is the resource or capability, is the company well? Okay, so if yes, you move on. If no, for example, there's no competitive advantage. For example, Xerox, HP, there's really no competitive advantage. It's more on marketing. It's more on trying to get your product well known. So there's one doesn't do more than the other. They all do basically the same thing. And as far as price goes, they're all almost the same. So there's really no competitive advantage of buying a small multifunctional printer or copier. Okay. So you would do no, but if you said if you had a diamond, yes, the diamond is valuable because De Beers made it valuable. Okay. Is it rare? Yes, a diamond's rare. Is a copier rare? No, it's not rare. Okay, but there's still some competition there. Okay, can you copy a diamond? Well, technology, yeah, I guess they're able to make cubic zirconia and some of the other. There's another one too. I forget the name of it is. That's supposed to even be better than cubic zirconia. So as technology develops, you can actually make something that is comparable or comparable, which would be what, a substitute good, right? That we learned last week. Okay, organized. Are they organized to take advantage of this sustained competitive advantage? Disney obviously is. The resources to copy Disney would be outrageous. They would have to billions of dollars, land, engineering, technology, all this other stuff. Okay. All right. Questions so far? As we go on to Disney? No? All right. No questions in the chat room? We're good. All right, let's see what everybody's looking at over here. Yes, drill bits are used, diamonds are used for drill bits and a lot of technology, and it's the not the man-made ones because they're still not as strong as the real diamonds. All right, the mission, we talked about that last week. The addition of the Walt Disney Company to be one of the world's leading producers, providers, entertainment, and information, which they are. They have remained very true to their mission statement from the beginning, and using our portfolio brands to differentiate our content, service, and consumer products, we seek to develop the most creative, innovative, and profitable entertainment experiences and related products in the world, which Disney does. They have executed their mission statement very, very well. All right, so these are the different Disney brands. Okay, so we have everything from the Walt Disney Park and Resorts to the cruise lines to ESPN, ABC. So even though there's not a company that competes on every level, there are other companies, smaller companies that compete in different categories where Disney, for example, the cruise lines, you have Norwegian, you have Carnival, all these other cruise lines, but none of them have Mickey Mouse, right? Right. All right. So what are some of the strengths that Disney has? And this is your participation points now, people.
They're a leader in the entertainment industry.
They are a leader in the entertainment industry. Not only with what?
So both like, I guess like in maybe like the media, such as like movies and like TV shows, but also with like in-person experiences such as like Disney World and Disneyland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for example, their strengths would be the longevity of that they've been in the industry since almost the beginning, with in the movie industry with cartoons, and the television industry. He was very active. The Wonderful World of Disney. You guys, I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but that's been around for years and years and years. Okay, the Mouseketeers. I don't know if you guys remember them. So the strengths are that they've had a good foothold in this industry for many, many years, correct?
Yeah.
Good.
Another thing that they do, because of the way that they organize themselves, they've set like a standard for other, like not only like TV entertainment, but like parks. Like I feel like some entertainment parks try to like kind of copy the way that they do their parks just because it runs so smoothly and everything always goes so well with them.
Absolutely. Parking. They like the best parking directors in the world. Right? It's like, okay.
It's kind of cut out.
So when you go, you always know where to park, and like other theme parks. All right. So Disney sets some standards that a lot of people in the industry copy, correct? Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some of Disney's weaknesses. What do you think some of their weaknesses are?
Honestly, I never understood how people fall in love and with Disney and go kind of, some of them, I know some friends, they go every week. So I just don't get that. And with this challenge that happens today, I don't feel like they are sustainable. I was happy that they had a kind of wide portfolio. So because the Disney resort by itself, I don't know how attractive it's going to be after this pandemic.
Well, first,
They're going to be popular for sure. There's no way that people are going to stop going to the park after this. The day they open, it's going to be like lines out the gate for sure.
Disney hasn't always been popular for such a long time. There's no way nobody is going to beat them at all.
Yeah. Francis, you're un-American. I'm sorry, but we're going to have you even
Totally agree with that.
when my children were small, we had season passes for them for many, many years. So especially in Southern California, Disney has become quite a staple for many, many people, and people travel from all over the world to go to Disneyland, even if they have a Disneyland themselves. Like France has a Disneyland, Japan, China, but they all want to go to the original. Okay. So we're not really talking about the weaknesses, but I think one of the weaknesses that you can say is that maybe they're too diversified and trying to do too many different things. Some of their companies like ESPN are not doing well. So they can't capitalize on every single market that they're in. Okay, I'm just kind of reading the comments on the
Do you
chat.
think that the reason that maybe like for example ESPN's not doing as well is because it's geared towards a smaller audience? Like Disney, of course, some people think it's for kids, but like everybody, well, most people like Disney movies and going to the parks. But like ESPN's kind of like a smaller audience, so maybe that's why it's not as successful.
Well, it really is. But then again, in its market, ESPN, they're the number one form of sports news, right? So within their market themselves, they do very well, but outside of their market as a whole, they're not doing really great as a company. They're not making a lot of money.
I mean, they're just a sports news, so there's not much unique about them. They just report the news. That's all they pretty much do.
Yeah.
I don't think Disney knows very much. Like they're not a sports company, so it's like for them to do really well in that area, it's weird because it's not their thing. It's not their forte.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Disney has quite everything pretty much, even on Fox News.
Well, that's like how Nike wanted to get into golf and get into soccer. You don't see anybody besides Tiger Woods with the Nike, because they really never did do that well. Same thing with soccer, especially in Europe. Nike, nobody likes Nike, as far as soccer goes, because they haven't been in the industry for a long time. But track and field, you have in college sports, Nike's always been very big, also with baseball, football in the United States. So, those are type of things, that's actually built up a long time. They like Disney, Nike has been doing that for a long time in certain sports, but and trying to get into other sports. For examples, did you know that Nike owns Converse? A lot of people didn't know that. So, and also there's a surf company that they own too, that they don't put their brand on there. They let them keep them the same because they don't want to soil the brand, I guess, that they're buying. Okay. And I just want to make a few comments on last quarter when I taught this. We actually did a thing about Ferrari versus Ford. That's actually a very good, it's a good movie about how companies merge or don't merge together. And Ferrari is owned by Fiat now, correct? And the Rolls Royce is owned by the Indian company Tata. US market. Okay. So other questions?
Go back to Disney. When we said this is not a weakness, we're not talking about weaknesses. I thought about like this Disneyland. It's in South California, so it's mainly attracting the people in the area. So when I used to live in San Francisco, I drove once in 10 years to go to Disneyland. And people who don't live in the South area, I don't think it's kind of sustainable for many people. So is it a weakness or not?
I wouldn't say that's a weakness, because at $1,000 a pop that hundreds of thousands of people are paying to go to Disneyland that live in the area, it's obviously not. And then not to mention all the people who travel here during the summer and want to go to Disneyland. So not really a weakness.
I feel like it just adds to maybe like the rarity
Yeah.
or like the value of going. I work there. I'm sorry. I keep defending them. Sorry, Francis.
I know. Yes, and we have Disney World too, not to forget in Florida, which is one of the most extraordinary things that you'll ever see. If you look on how Disney was made in Florida, they actually drained a swamp in order to make Disney. So they had engineers from what was it, MIT? Walt Disney hired engineers from MIT to figure out how to drain the swamp and how to build this entire huge complex. It's very interesting. There's a movie out there that you guys should watch about that.
Isn't Disney like the highest the company who like employs the most people like in Orange County and in whatever county it is in Orlando?
Yeah, they're the largest employer of Orange County. A few little facts about Disney. They have the right to any property that goes up up for sale in Anaheim. They get first dibs on it. And then also when they were making Magic Mountain, they couldn't get a permit to build the mountain that high. So what they do is they had to get a permit for a second story building. So they put a gymnasium in the top of Magic Mountain in Space Mountain. So in order to get a building permit to build it, they had to do a gymnasium up there. Interesting facts. Did you know that, Brianna, working at Disney?
I didn't know that exactly, but I've sidebar from what you're kind of talking about. I've ridden Space Mountain with the lights on, and it's crazy. It's not cute. It's so ugly.
All right. All right. So back to our
Did you know that there's a basketball hoop on the top of the Matterhorn? I feel like a lot of people know that now, but there's
Matterhorn.
like a basketball.
That's
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I have heard of that before.
Yeah.
Wait, why is there a basketball hoop?
It was for the employees. Probably have a break time for the employees. That's why they created it.
It's a half court. It's the gymnasium that they built for the second story. All right, let's move on. All right, so review of Porter's 5 forces from last week. What are threat of new entries for Disney as this applies to Disney? So Disney's not going to get any threats really because of the time and cost of the entry into its market. Specialized knowledge. You can't just learn how to conduct a train and do Space Mountain overnight, right? You know, these are things that are developed over years and years of experience. Okay. So threat of new entries, I don't think Disney has to worry about that. Competitive rivalry, number of competitors is going to be small, and they're going to be limited to places like Magic Mountain, individual small amusement parks within local areas. Okay, so they're not really going to have people traveling from all over the world to come and visit. Okay, so buyer power, number of customers, size of each order. Disney, as far as customers goes, they pretty much can charge anything they want and they're going to sell out. Okay, but they are doing some pricing, different pricing on different days and different different prices for different days. For example, special events like the on the Halloween event that they have, weekends are more expensive than the weekdays. So they know exactly how much the buyer is willing to pay and the customer. Okay. So threat of substitutes, you're not going to substitute Magic Mountain for Disneyland. It's just not going to happen. All right. You might go there just because, but it's not a direct substitute. It's not a McDonald's versus Burger King. Okay. And supplier power. Okay. So the relationships that they built up with their customers buying cups, you know, hot dogs, paper plates, all that other stuff, they have quite a bit of supplier power and buyer power. All right. So we already talked about how valuable Disney has a sustainable competitive advantage because they answer yes to the valuable, the rare, the immutable, and they're organized. Okay. So they answer yes to all these. All right. So Disneyland's value chain. Let's talk a little bit about that. So the firm infrastructure, so everything from administrative, all of that, all the way down to service. Disneyland has what, one of the best service in the world. They clean their park every single night. I don't know if you've ever. We had a friend who used to work there. They shut it down. They turn on all the lights. They disinfect the whole park. They do all the maintenance. They do everything within just a few hours. From midnight to 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. It's just amazing.
How many employees are on hand for that? Jesus.
The park is full of employees just doing work. I don't know exact numbers, but Brianna, where do you work in Disney, Brianna?
I was typing. I work in Tomorrowland, but I do know people that it's called third shift, the people that work through the night. People like the horticulture who do the plants and like the custodials who clean like the ground. And then like I work in a restaurant in Tomorrowland. So we have people that come in and like do our floors and like our windows at nighttime. They work from like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 p.m. and obviously 12 a.m. to like 10 a.m. Like they'll work full 8-hour shifts just throughout the whole night. It's really crazy. You see them like leaving, like I'll be coming to work in the morning and like they'll just all be leaving. It's like a crowd. So it's like probably a couple thousand, honestly, for the whole Disneyland and for California Adventure.
Yeah, my friend was a director of he did all the landscaping, and he had, I think 400, 500 employees under him every day just for landscaping.
Yeah, it's
So,
crazy. There's 30,000 cast members in total between the two parks here in Anaheim. So
yeah,
you could split it up however you want.
yeah, exactly. All right. Questions about anything else in the Disney?
Are we gonna be tested on like Disney related?
You're going to be tested on everything I go over. It's all fair game. All right. So Disney is obviously, we spend a lot of time on Disney because of the value chain, and it's rare. So it is important for Disney company to base its competitive advantage on activities which access the rare or the scarce resources. For example, intellectual capital. There have been many, many cartoons out there, but nobody really comes close to what Disney does with their cartoons. They go and Pixar maybe a little bit, right? But the way they've done the quality and the way they've been innovative and have integrated the best technology into their animation, nobody else comes close. Okay. So the primary value chain activities of the Walt Disney Company are directly involved in the producing and selling of the product to targeted customers. So the customers that they're targeting, also inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, sales and marketing, and they're number one in service. Okay. So this kind of sums up what we talked about on the value chain in the previous slide. Okay. So in the inbound logistics, it is important to develop strong relationships with suppliers necessary to restore and distribute their products. So they have to have a supplier that's big enough that's going to be able to take care of everything. For example, quite a few years ago, I used to sell Disney fax machines. So we would install all the fax machines in what their offices are in Burbank at the Disney store. And then we'd also install fax machines to the Disney talent. So for example, Nicolas Cage was doing a movie for Disney, and I went to his house and installed the fax machine for him to use, because what they do is they get hundreds of pages of scripts. So this was before email was really prominent, that everybody used email. So this was the best way to give somebody lots of documents, and also to, because they're always editing the documents, so they'd send them new documents every morning. Okay. I don't remember what the movie was. And I didn't even see Nicolas Cage, but I saw his 3 Ferraris parked in front. All right. All right, some examples of inbound logistics are retrieving raw material, storing the inputs, internally distributing the raw material and components to start production. All right, next. Okay, operations. The importance of handling operation activities raises when raw materials arrives. The Walt Disney Company is ready to process the raw material. Walt Disney really doesn't take in too much raw material and produces it other than food products And even probably a lot of that comes in already pre-made or frozen. Right, Brianna?
Yeah, sure. I can't comment. I'm contracted. Sorry.
No problem. So they don't really take steel, raw steel, and make
It's all made from magic.
it's all made from magic. Yes.
Also, like I went to Disney World recently, and like I found out they're making their own like food or something in their like thing.
Well, they don't bring in the cows, slaughter them, drain the blood,
The
and
vegetables and stuff, they try to grow their own thing, be more sustainable.
yeah.
They have some pretty good chicken.
My favorite is the hot dog or the corn dogs, the corn dog cart. I like that.
Or the turkey legs.
Or the turkey legs are pretty good, yes. So examples of operational activity are machining, packing, assembling, testing. For example, Disneyland probably does a lot of their own machining when it comes to replacing parts and that type of stuff. But as far as other raw materials, probably not. Outbound logistics include the activity that deliver the product to the customer by passing through different intermediaries. Um, for example, the outbound logistics, like to the Disney store when they produce all these plush animals and they ship them out. Okay. So Disney has a lot of licensing that they sell to other manufacturers and other companies for making them, which is something different that we'll talk about. Material handling, warehousing, scheduling, all of this Disney does on a huge scale. Handling all the materials, getting to where they need to be, everything down to the Diet Coke for $6, right there in front of Jungle Land, to the corn dogs in the corn dog station, to the sweatshirts all over in every different store in the process. So there's quite a bit of logistics and material handling going on. Okay. When outbound activities are timely managed with optimal costs and products delivery process to put a minimum negative effect on the quality, it maximizes the customer satisfaction and increases the growth opportunities for the firm. So if you go to Tomorrowland and you want to get a sweatshirt that says Tomorrowland and there's nothing there, you're going to get kind of pissed off and go, man, this place sucks. I'm not going to spend my money here. So all of these things kind of all contribute to the success and the activities and the outbound activities. Okay. Marketing and sales. Walt Disney Company will highlight the benefits and differentiation points of offered products, persuade the customers that it's offering it's better than the competitors. So Disney's always marketing and is always selling its products, whether it's the videos, the new ice princesses, whatever they're called, the Ursula and the other one. I don't have a little girl, so I don't know. So Disney is very good at marketing their products and selling their products. Okay. Marketing and sales activity are sales force, advertising, promotional activities, pricing, channel selection, quoting, and building relationships with channel partners. Many of the Disney products are not actually made by Disney, kind of like Nike doesn't make shoes. Nike's a marketing company. They outsource and have different companies, and they give them licensing to make their products and sell their products. Okay. Questions about this so far? Service, the pre-sale and post-sale services offered by the Walt Disney Company play an important role in developing customer loyalty. So it's the service after the sale. Okay, so do we have any questions? So we're going to stop there for today.
I got a question.
Yes, Gabriel.
Yes. So I saw on the syllabus, just to confirm, there's no mini case due this Friday, correct?
I don't think there's any mini cases due this Friday. I think the next one is, what are we looking at? Next one is Southwest Airlines due on 4/17, which I will put back up here in a second. Other questions?
Professor, would you be able to post those questions? I didn't even get the chance to read the third one.
Questions for what?
The one that trial we started at the beginning, like it was a quiz or sample quiz or review, I don't remember.
You didn't
You
miss
mean the recap?
The poll.
the polls. They were just polls.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Okay, to make sure are those for sure not graded?
No, those are not graded. See, do you guys
Okay.
get the polls? No. It was just a poll. Which cell phone manufacturer had 39% of the market share, which was Nokia? Remember we talked about last week? What does the V and VIRO stand for? And that's valuable. And how many forces does Porter have?
Didn't
Francis,
get a chance to read the third one. Thank you.
how many forces does Porter have, Francis? 5. Very good. All right. You passed for today.
About the quizzes, generally, how much time we have to do them?
The quiz, probably not more than 5 minutes. They're not going to be very difficult. They just basically make sure you're keeping up with the reading, and there'll be questions on what we're currently going to go over the chapter. Like for example, what does a V stand for in VRIO? Multiple choice. Should take you all of what, 5 seconds?
Hmm.
Right, Luke? You look confused. All right. And yes, let's see here. I was going to tell you what's due and what's not due. Okay. So mini case Southwest Airlines due Friday, April 17th. Quiz on Monday, maybe. By the end of this week, we should have everybody in their groups. Watson, how are we doing on that? Watson?
I think someone still like didn't fill up the email, but I think everybody is here for just fill in the blank of for the group.
All right. Why do you need to talk to anybody about?
Yeah. So like I would like to say so everybody should like fill in your email after the your name and your student ID rather than just like fill your name or student ID. Yeah, so because like your group member can chat or communicate with each other by this way. Yeah, I didn't count all the number of the guy who have already
Share the document with us and show us what's going on.
okay. Yeah, can I already see the sheet here? Yeah, just some people didn't fill up the email. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so fill out your email addresses so everybody in your group can contact you. And then we are going to stick you in breakout groups so you guys can actually do that together. But I need your emails also on after your name. You can get rid of their student IDs. We don't need that.
Okay.
I will post case number 2 study questions soon. What else you got? All right.
Professor, I have a question for the value chain. Is
Yeah.
the value chain just for analysis of the process and for example, if you want to analyze the internal side, which was the weaknesses and strengths, both of these are internal. And then value chain is just for the process. And if you want to evaluate the resources the company has or the capabilities the company has, that doesn't go through the value chain, does it?
Everything goes through the value chain. A value chain is another way to analyze a company. So like when you're doing analysis on the company itself, when you're either comparing it or you want to do something, using the value chain is just a construct of how you can look at it. Okay, so for the different aspects of, and it's how you, and it's broken up to explain what different departments do within that company and the value that they apply to the company. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. And for example, for the capabilities, we have two different capabilities, the operating capabilities and the dynamic capabilities. For example, for Disney, can we say Disney has the dynamic capability, or it's just keeping what Disney has for the last years? Because the dynamic capabilities definition says that if the company can continuously expand the existing resources.
Disney's always innovating, they're always expanding, they're always changing. Within the next few months, try and get a Disney movie on anything other than the Disney Channel or the streaming Disney, because they're going to not make it readily available. Right now, it's getting pretty bad. Netflix, you can't find a lot of the Disney stuff on there. I think The Incredibles 2 is one of the few Disney movies you can find on there. So Disney is always changing. They're always trying to innovate, always trying to do new things. So everything from the in the 1950s when they did surround sound, was one of the first companies to do a type of audio surround sound, to their different types of animation that they're doing. So they're always trying to innovate. The new Disneyland that they just built, the Star Wars. So they're always doing something new, always innovating. So their value chain is always constantly is active and trying to do stuff. Okay, so the SWOT, the VRIO, the value chain, these are all analytical tools that you can use to research companies. And these are the basics that I'm teaching you. So when it comes for our final project, you'll be using all of these tools to analyze the final project, the final company. Okay, so that's what we're kind of building up to with all this.
Hi, Professor. There was a question. When is the discussion question generally due? Like by the end of the day?
The discussion questions, what on iLearn?
Yeah.
I didn't put a due date on them, but for you, they're due right now.
Okay. Like today.
So I'll probably post another discussion question. I'm not particularly grading these, but these are part of your participation points. So, which are worth 10% of your total grade. So what I want you guys is to have, some good discussions. I want you to think about the concepts that we're talking about, some of these analytical tools, and, write about them. Bring in companies like Disney, like Nike, even smaller companies. If you want to talk about smaller companies, that's fine too. So that's what the whole point of the discussion board is, to get some discussion going and some exchanging some thoughts and ideas.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And if I want something graded on there, I'll make sure I put it that it's graded and when it's due.
Yeah, an announcement will be good. Thanks.
An announcement? What? It's just a discussion board. Okay. Yes, on the discussion board, I want you to make your own thread and then comment on somebody else's thread.
Professor,
Yes.
you may have answered this, but I definitely may have just like not heard it. So you said that the next case is next week.
You're breaking up, Gabriel.
Hello?
Yeah, you're.
I guess I accidentally muted myself. So you said the next case studies due the 17th, which is next Friday. Do you mind posting the question early? That way we can just start working on it now.
I'll either post them today or tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Luke, what, you're in your car? Where are you going? You're supposed to be quarantined in the house.
Coronado right now.
Well, stay healthy.
What was that?
Stay healthy and put your mask on.
Oh yeah, we had training this morning, so
Yeah, okay.
it's kind of nice getting out and.
All right. Questions? Okay. Nothing else on the chat. All right. Make sure you sign up for a group before the end of the week. Otherwise, we will put you in a group, and make sure you put your email address so your group members know how to contact you. And then we'll also do some breakout rooms, maybe next meeting or probably next week, and have some discussions, either one-on-one or in little small groups. And questions about anything today that we would discuss, or anything you want to discuss about upcoming. And make sure you put your names down correctly. That's on the roster, because we do. I'm just looking over the names because we do take attendance. So if you have a name that doesn't match up with our roster, you're going to be marked as absent. Okay. And then like the big M for Megan Chen. Okay, we got your name there, Megan. Okay, anything else? All right, well, thank you very much. You guys are excused, and I'll stick around for a few more minutes and see if there's any other questions.
Thanks, Professor.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, bro.
Yes.
I came in about 15 minutes late, and we had a quiz today, right?
For you, yes, we had a quiz. You missed it, sorry. No, we didn't have a quiz.
Okay.
And you know, this is recorded, right? You guys, it's live on YouTube. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I only have this class and the other class, but I'm not doing too much on YouTube these days. But also I post this usually right after class or the next day, the recording of the class. So you guys can always catch that.
Hard to focus out here. You have everyone walking around, getting drinks. It's pretty busy in Coronado.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what those people are thinking.
They were the last ones to close down their beach. They had the whole news on that, and it was a big deal. So.
Yeah.
Kind of refreshing.
I don't know. I've been cooped up in the house. Actually, I have to go to the office later today, but just for a quick trip. Not going to meet anybody. All right. I should become a YouTuber, huh, Kelsey? I don't know. What am I going to put on YouTube? An influencer. Okay. What am I influencing? Should I brainwash you guys? Strategy influencer. Okay.
Excuse me, for the last week on your YouTube channel, I found the meeting on Tuesday, but I don't see the meeting for on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm going to blame Watson for not hitting the YouTube button on that one.
Oh.
No, I didn't record it. That was my fault. I forgot to hit the button. So
No, it's okay. I just thought that maybe I'm not in the right place to find it. So
actually being recorded twice, once on when I hit the YouTube button, and then also it's automatically recorded on Zoom, and I actually post those links. So week 1, there's 2 links. So one is for one I think is YouTube, the other one is Zoom. But they're recorded. Each session is recorded, so you're not missing anything out. Whether it's YouTube or Zoom, they're all recorded.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I wasn't online at the time, but I wanted to check out something later.
Yeah, well, it's
again. So
you
that's,
can access week 1. I learned it's all there for you.
thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? What we got, Watson? So do you need to talk to me, Watson?
Yeah, I want to talk with you. Like, could we just keep just we two, and you can like close the
Yeah.
recording.
Close the meeting, and then we'll
Create a new Zoom meeting.
I'll create a new Zoom meeting with you.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
I can do it. I'll send you the. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to close the meeting now.
All right, thank you.